So you work hard, maybe really hard. You wake up early, go to work, answer emails, deal with customers, coworkers, traffic, bills, and somehow still find enough energy to scroll on your phone before bed. And yet, at the end of every month, your bank account looks like it got mugged. Again, you got paid. The money showed up. Then it disappeared so fast you'd think your checking account was running a magic act. And every month, you tell yourself the same thing. If I could just make a little more money, everything would be different. But would it? Because thousands of years ago, in a city made of mud, bricks, and gold, people were saying the same exact thing as you. And that's where this story begins. Not in New York, not in Los Angeles, not in a billionaire's penthouse, but in ancient Babylon, the richest city on earth. And strangely enough, the people living there had the exact same money problems that you have today. Imagine this. You're sitting outside your house after a long day of work. You're exhausted. Not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. The kind of tired coming from realizing you've been working for years and somehow nothing to show for it. Your friend walks over. He's broke too. Perfect. Nothing bonds two people together like financial disappointment. You start talking, you compare notes, you both work hard, you both earn money, and somehow neither of you are getting rich. If you're watching this video right now, then the algorithm thinks that you're ready to get serious about your money. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on these examples of how money actually works. I drop content every Monday. Now let's get back to the video. Meanwhile, a childhood friend named G has become the wealthiest man in Babylon. The guy has gold, land, servants, investments. Basically, the ancient version of owning 3 rental properties and posting motivational quotes on Instagram. And naturally, you're annoyed because you've known this guy your whole life. You grew up together. You learned the same things. So why is he rich while you're counting coins? The question changes everything. Because instead of complaining about rich people, you decide to ask one. Crazy concept, right? Most people never do this. Instead, they take financial advice from other broke people, which is kind of like asking someone who's lost in the woods for directions. Yet somehow, that's the strategy. You ask your friend asks his cousin watched a TikTok, and now everyone's a financial expert. Meanwhile, nobody has any money. But G was different. He actually had results. And results matter most to him. Because wealth isn't created by opinions. It's created by principles. And G's first principle was so simple, most people ignored it. He said, a part of all you earn is yours to keep. That's it. That's the secret. And before you roll your eyes and click away, understand something. Almost nobody actually follows it. You get paid, then you pay your rent, then you pay your insurance, then you pay your groceries, then you pay your gas, then subscriptions you forgot existed, then food delivery because cooking suddenly feels impossible, then random purchases that seem necessary at 1 a.m. And after everyone gets paid, you get whatever is left, which is usually nothing. G realized that's backwards. Why does everyone else get paid before you? You earned the money. You worked for it. Yet somehow, every company, bill, and expense gets first access to your money. You get leftovers. Imagine owning a restaurant and feeding every customer before you're feeding yourself. Eventually, you starve. Yet financially, that's exactly what many people do. G announced that every time you earn money, at least 10% belongs to you. Not to the landlord, not to Amazon, not to the cell phone company. You. You keep it. Not expectations. No negotiations. No, I'll start next month. Because next month turns into a year. Then next decade. Then suddenly you're wondering where your life went. The point isn't the amount. The point is the habit. Because saving money isn't really about money. It's about identity. You're teaching yourself that your future matters. And that's powerful. Now, here's where most people mess up. Let's say you actually saved the money. Congratulations. You've officially accomplished more than a large percentage of adults. But then something happens. See a shiny object, a new car, a new gadget, a sale that ends in 3 hours. Apparently, every sale in human history ends in 3 hours. And suddenly your savings account becomes a spending account. Gone, just gone. G warned about this too, because money saved isn't enough. Money must work. If you're working for money forever, you're trapped. The goal is to reach a point where money starts working for you. Think about it. Every dollar you save is like an employee, a tiny little green employee. And every time you spend it unnecessarily, you fire that employee before it can do any work. Imagine hiring 100 workers and sending them home immediately. That's what happens when the money never gets invested. G explained that wealth grows when money earns more money. Then that money earns even more money. And then that money starts having little money babies. It's a weird sentence to say out loud, yeah, I must admit. But it actually exactly how wealth works. The rich become rich because they're superhuman. That's false. They become rich because they own assets that continue to produce value. While they sleep, while they eat, while they watch television, the money keeps moving, the money keeps multiplying, the money keeps working. And eventually it works harder than they do. But then comes another lesson. One that people still ignore today. Protect your treasure from loss. In other words, stop giving your money to con artists that promise impossible returns. This lesson is ancient and somehow still irrelevant. Thousands of years later, people are still handing money to strangers who claim they know how to double it overnight. If someone promises a guaranteed riches, run. If someone says it's risk-free, run faster. Nothing in life is worth it without risk. G believed that before investing money, you should seek advice from people who actually understand what they're talking about. Another revolutionary idea, I guess. If you're buying real estate, talk to people experienced in real estate. If you're investing, learn from experienced investors. If you started a business, learn from business owners, not random influencers whose primary skill is renting luxury cars for thumbnails. And here's the part no one wants to hear. Getting rich is boring. There, I said it. It's not usually flashy. It's not usually fast. It's not usually exciting. For example, the S&P 500 stock grows around 10% per year historically, meaning if you had $50,000 in the stock, you'd earn back a free labored $5,000 per year, which is probably more money than you have in your bank account currently watching this video. The principles to understanding money aren't complicated. They're repetitive. Save, invest, protect, repeat. Over and over and over again. Which is unfortunate because humans love excitement. And financial excitement is usually expensive. The lottery is exciting. Impulsive purchases are exciting. Risky investments are exciting. But wealth often looks boring from the outside until 20 years pass. Then suddenly, everyone calls it luck. The truth is, G wasn't teaching people how to get rich. He was teaching people how to become wealthy permanently. There's a difference. Anybody can look rich for a weekend. A leased car can do that. A credit card can do that. A debit card can do that. But actual wealth, that's different. Actual wealth is freedom. Freedom to make choices. Freedom to survive emergencies. Freedom to sleep at night. Freedom to say no. And that freedom begins the moment you stop spending every dollar that enters your life. So if you take one lesson from G, the richest man in Babylon, let it be this. The amount of money you earn matters. The amount of money you invest matters more. Because no income is large enough to overcome constant spending. And no beginning is too small if the habit is strong enough. The people of the Babylon learned this thousands of years ago. The strange thing is, most people still haven't learned it today. They're waiting for the raises, waiting for a better job, waiting for a lucky break, waiting for some magical moment when money finally starts behaving differently. Meaning, the answer has been sitting in a book for nearly hundreds of years. Pay yourself first. Protect what you save. Invest wisely. Be patient. Live well. Live within your means. That's it. Simple, not easy, but simple. And if ancient merchants could figure it out using clay tablets and a camel transportation system, you probably don't need any other excuses. You just need to start.